Hello and welcome to another After Effects tutorial. This is what we are gonna be doing today. Simple, clean and effective. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new composition. I'm gonna call it main. I will import a background image that I will drag onto the main composition. I will apply to it blur effect fast blur. Then I will reposition it just by dragging the image and moving it around. Then I will type the name, the surname, and the position of the text that we will animate. Ernest, Paul, and editor, 3 different layers plus the background. I just place them in the composition so they look nice. Changing the size of the font, using the arrows up, down, left, right to move around. Also the align tools. Okay, so next thing, I'm gonna create a new composition that I will call text. So in the main composition, I will copy the text that I just typed, Ernest Paul editor, and I will paste them in the text composition. Okay, so now I can go to the main composition and delete them. By dragging the text composition that I just created into the main composition, I can see what is going on with that text. Okay, so as we did in previous videos, I will select Ernest layer and I will pre-compose it by calling it Ernest animation. Okay, I will go inside that new Ernest animation layer. I will crop that composition by using the selection area tool, and then I will go to composition, crop composition to region of interest. Okay, cool. Now I will pre-compose that layer just by calling it Ernest. In this case, I'm just aligning to the right side of the composition the text. Now back to the Ernest composition, I will animate it. So I go to second number one, keyframe on position by clicking P. Then I go to second 0 and I move out the layer. Then I will select those keyframes, control copy, and I will go to second number 3 and I will paste them. I will select those keyframes and I will go to keyframe assistant reverse. Now I will select all the keyframes. I will go to keyframe assistance is easy and I will adjust the curves in the graph editor. Okay, so back to text composition. We'll do the same thing we did for Ernest composition with Paul. We pre-compose Paul layer into Paul animation. We go into Paul animation composition. We crop the image by selecting the area of interest, composition, crop. Okay. Now I will pre-compose that layer and I will call it Paul. Okay, and in this new composition, Paul, I will adjust the text to the left side by using the line tools. Okay, so back into Paul animation, I will go to second number one, I will put a keyframe on position by clicking P, keyframe, click on the stopwatch, I will go to second 0, move out the layer, okay, go to second number 3, I will copy the keyframes, go to second number 3, paste those keyframes, select those new keyframes, keyframe assistant, reverse. Okay, I will select all the keyframes now, easy ease. Now I go to the graph editor and I adjust the curves. Okay, so back into the text composition. Okay, I will readjust it a little bit the layers so they look as I had them before. more or less. Okay, now we'll select the editor layer. I will pre-compose it into editor animation. Okay, we go inside editor animation composition. I will select the area of interest. I will crop it. Okay, this is what we have. I will pre-compose the editor layer into editor. Okay, cool. I will center it just by using the align tools. So back to the editor animation composition. And here we have to do something very important. We have to turn that layer into 3D by clicking on the empty box underneath the cube in the layer. We will go to second number one. We will put a keyframe on the Y rotation, and we will go to second 0 and make the rotation to be 90 degrees. We will copy those keyframes, go to second number 3, paste those keyframes, select those keyframes, okay, reverse them, select all the keyframes, easy ease, okay, so now they are smooth. And this is what we have so far. We will have a little problem that I will solve later on, and maybe you already know, but I'll come to it later on. Okay, so now we want to have it fading in and fading out. So we'll go to frame number 7, keyframe opacity to 100. Okay, opacity, shortcut is T for transparency. We go to second number 0 and we turn down the opacity to 0. Now I will copy those keyframes and I will go to the last keyframe I have on the rotation and paste those keyframes, the same position. Okay, reverse them, select all the keyframes, easy ease. So cool, so far so good. Let's go to the text composition. I will reposition the editor layer. Okay, so that's what we have more or less. You see there's a little problem going on with editor. We are having some of the letters being cut, but we will solve them later on. Okay, so now I will select Ernest animation and Paul animation, both of them, and I will pre-compose them into names. Now I go inside names composition. I will select the area of interest and I will crop that composition. Composition, crop. Okay, this is what we have so far. I will pre-compose this layer again. We call them names animation. Okay. In names composition, I will select the mask tool and I will draw a shape layer. Make sure you are not selecting anything on that composition when you draw it. Change the color to the color you like the most. In this case, we're gonna go for yellow. We will change the track matte to Lumeinberg. And now we will animate the shape layer. So second number 1, but notice that I'm unchaining the height and the width. So now I can change the parameters individually. Okay, so in second number 1 is 100, 100. And then I move to second 0 and it's gonna be 0 to 100. Okay, keyframe. So I will select those keyframes. Copy, go to second number 3, paste them, reverse them. Select all the keyframes, easy ease. I will go to the graph editor and I will adjust the curves. So this is what we have so far. I could make some modifications, adding some motion blur and stuff, but that's up to you. Okay, so back to the text layer. So this is what we have so far. Notice that we're having some little issues with the editor layer. I will go back to editor animation composition and I will make that composition bigger. So I go to composition, composition settings, and I will change the height. Okay, let's see if now it works. So I'm gonna make it still a little bit bigger, higher. 90. Okay, so now should be enough. Okay, so yeah, now it works. I'm placing it a little bit higher. Fine. As I say, we can add motion blur to it so it looks cooler. So now, on the editor layer, I didn't adjust the curves. So I'm gonna go to the graph editor for those keyframes and I'm adjusting the rotation. All right. So fair enough. So let's go to the main composition and this is what we have with the background. So thanks for watching and see you in the next video. I hope you found it interesting and it was worth your time.